Good day. How is everyone this fine Thursday, July 11th, 7/11/2024? And we are getting things ready. Let's see if YouTube takes a screenshot of this. Thank you, Sister Jeannie, for helping me out this morning. I'm running a little bit behind schedule. So, not that I'm promoting 7-Eleven, but they do give away slushies today, I think, for free. So, if you're thirsty and driving by one. Now, for those out on the West Coast, I don't even know if there's a 7-Eleven. Yeah, there are 7-Elevens out there. Okay, wasn't sure. Good day, CJ, CW, Denise, Maria, Greg, Lucy, Andrew, the Line Webbers. I know I'm missing people, and I apologize. And the motorhome search continues. Now I'm going back and forth between a diesel pusher and a gasser, they call them, and the length and all that sort of thing. I had no idea this was going to be this involved. But Deam Matronam Nostrae is guiding me, and I want to make sure that I get one that's going to go far distance without any issues. All right. Because I want to visit all of you, especially in Europe. Wish there was a bridge. Anyway, let's get started with morning prayers and continue with St. Catherine of Siena and the profound understandings of virtues as given to her by Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. In nomine Dei Matronam Nostrae et Deum Iesum Christum et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Let us place ourselves in the presence of the Trinitarian Theophany and in Catholic contemplation humbly adore the Divine Family. Most holy and venerable Trinitarian Theophany, one divine family, I believe that thou art here present. I venerate thee with the deepest humility. I render to thee with my whole heart the homage which is due to thee. O Trinitarian Theophany, relying on thine infinite goodness and promises, I hope to obtain the pardon of my sins, the help of thy grace, and life everlasting, through the merits of Deum Iesum Christum et Deum Matronam Nostrae. O Trinitarian Theophany, I love thee above all things with my whole heart and soul, because thou art all good and worthy of all love. I love my neighbor as myself for love of thee, and I forgive all who have injured me and ask pardon of all whom I have injured. And let us thank the Trinitarian Theophany for the many graces that we receive, and offer ourselves and our sufferings up to heaven, and for the souls in purgatory. O Trinitarian Theophany, I most humbly thank thee for all the favors thou hast bestowed upon me to the present moment. It is again thanks to thy bounty that I should live to see this day, and I desire to employ it solely in thy service. I consecrate to thee all my thoughts, words, actions, and sufferings of this day. Sanctify them, that there may be none that is not animated by thy love, or that would not tend to thy greater glory. Let us make a firm resolution to avoid evil and to do good, and let us beg of the Trinitarian Theophany the graces which are necessary to us. O Trinitarian Theophany, thou knowest my weakness, and that I am unable to do anything good without the help of thy grace. Deny me not thy grace, and proportion it to my necessities, or I should say, portion it to my necessities. Give me strength to avoid everything which thou forbiddest, to practice the good which thou hast commanded, and enable me patiently to bear all the trials which it may please thee to send me. O Trinitarian Theophany, O Deum Matronam Nostrae, I place myself under thy protection. I throw myself with confidence into the arms of thy compassion. Be to me, O Mother of Mercy, my refuge in distress, my consolation in suffering, now and at the hour of my death. O most holy Trinitarian Theophany, Deum Matronam Nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. I am heartily sorry for having offended thee, and I detest all my sins, because I dread the loss of heaven and the pains of hell. But most of all, because they offend thee, O most holy Trinitarian Theophany, Deum Matronam Nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, who are all good and deserving of all my love. I firmly resolve, with the help of thy grace, to confess my sins, to do penance, and to amend my life. How virtues are proved and fortified by their contraries. Up to the present I have taught thee how a man may serve his neighbor, and manifest by that service the love which he has towards me. Now I wish to tell thee further that a man proves his patience on his neighbor when he receives injuries from him. Similarly, he proves his humility on a proud man, his faith on an infidel, his true hope on one who despairs, his justice on the unjust, his kindness on the cruel, his gentleness and benignity on the irascible. Good men produce and prove all their virtues on their neighbor, just as perverse men all their vices. Thus, if thou consider well, humility is proved on pride in this way. The humble man extinguishes pride, because a proud man can do no harm to a humble one. Neither can the infidelity of a wicked man, who neither loves me nor hopes in me, when brought forth against one who is faithful to me, do him any harm. His infidelity does not diminish the faith or the hope of him who has conceived his faith and hope through love of me. It rather fortifies it and proves it in the love he feels for his neighbor. For he sees that the infidel is unfaithful because he is without hope in me and in my servant, because he does not love me, placing his faith and hope rather in his own sensuality, which is all that he loves. My faithful servant does not leave him because he does not faithfully love me, or because he does not constantly seek with hope in me for his salvation, inasmuch as he sees clearly the causes of his infidelity and lack of hope. The virtue of faith is proved in these and other ways. Wherefore, to those who need the proof of it, my servant proves his faith in himself and in his neighbor. And so justice is not diminished by the wicked man's injustice, but is rather proved, that is to say, the justice of a just man. Similarly, the virtues of patience, benignity, and kindness manifest themselves in a time of wrath by the same sweet patience in my servants. And envy, vexation, and hatred demonstrate their love, and hunger and desire for the salvation of souls. I say also to thee that not only is virtue proved in those who render good for evil, but that many times a good man gives back fiery coals of love, which dispel the hatred and rancor of heart of the angry. And so from hatred often comes benevolence, and that this is by virtue of the love and perfect patience which is in him who sustains the anger of the wicked, bearing and supporting his defects. If thou wilt observe the virtues of fortitude and perseverance, these virtues are proved by the long endurance of the injuries and detractions of wicked men, who, whether by injuries or by flattery, constantly endeavor to turn man aside from following the road and the doctrine of truth. Wherefore in all these things the virtue of fortitude conceived within the soul perseveres with strength. In addition, proves itself externally upon the neighbor, as I have said to thee, And if fortitude were not able to make that good proof of itself, being tested by many contrarieties, it would not be a serious virtue founded in truth. That's the end of the Treatise of Divine Providence. That last bit is very, every time I read these things, I really appreciate the depth of the understanding and the explanation on how we are to endure those things and those calumnies, those angers, and those bitternesses in the virtues, so that you don't want to give cause for them to continue by the other person. And at the same time, if you respond in like manner, you end up being more like, or increasing your chance for continuing that vice. So the key is the opposite. The contrary virtue of what you're receiving is what you should practice. And it is hard. It is very hard. The ego is a very strong influence in one's life. But the more you can catch the ego before it reacts, the better your path to the transforming union will be. And the more souls will be affected and assisted by your actions. All right. Let's begin Mass. And tomorrow we'll start a treatise on divine providence. Deum vobiscum et quoque apud. Oremus. O Trinitarian Theophany, the Creator and Redeemer of all the faithful, grant to the souls of thy servants in him aids the remission of all their sins, that they may obtain by loving prayers the forgiveness which they have always desired, who livest and reignest with thee, one Trinitarian Theophany, forever and ever. Suscipe Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum Hanc Immaculatum Hostiam, quam ego indignus famulus tuus afferri tibi Deum meum vivum et verum, pro innumerabilibus peccatis et offensionibus et negligentiis meis, et pro omnibus circumstantibus sere pro omnibus fidelibus Catholicorum vivis atque, defunctis ut mihi et idis proficiat ad salutem. Deum qui humanae substantiae dignitatum mirabilite condidisi et mirabilis reformastri da nobis peruis, atquae et divini mysterium eius divinitatis esse consortes quium entitatis nostrae fieri dignatis es parteceps, Deum Iesum Christum Filium, qui tecum vivit et regnat in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Offerimus tibi Deum calicem salutaris tuum da peccantes clementium, ut in conspecto divinae majestatis tuae pro nostra et totius mundi salute, cum odore suavitatis ascendat. In spiritu humilitatis et in animo contrito suscipiamara te Deum Iesum Christum, et sic fiat sacrificium nostrum et conspitutu hodie, uplaciat tibi Deum matronam nostrae et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Veni Sanctificator, Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, et sanctificita oblata prosequendo, et accepere hoc sacrificium tuo sancto nomini praeparatum. Suscipe Sancta Trinitas Sancta Oblationem cum tibi aferimus a memoriam passionis resurrectionis et ascensionis Deum Iesum Christum, et in honorem Deum matronam nostrae, et a Papa Peter Sanctorum et Istorum et omnium Sanctorum, ut idis proficiat ad honorem nobis autem ad salutem, et idi pro nobis intercedere dignentur in caelis, quorum memoriam agimus in tedis, per innum Christum Deum nostrum. Orate, ut meam ac vestrum sacrificium acceptabile fiat ab Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Suscipiat Deum Iesum Christum sacrificium de manibus tuis ad laudem et gloriam nominis sui, ad utilitatem quoque nostram totiusque ecclesiae suae sanctae. Deum vobiscum, quoque apud te, sursum corda, habemus a Deum, gratias agamus Deum nostrum, dignum et justum est. Te igitur clementissime Mater et Pater et Deum Matronum nostrae, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, per Deum Iesum Christum Filium Tuum Deum nostrae, supplices rogamus et petimus, uti accepta habeas, et sanctificas haec sanctam sacrificium irribata. In primis quae tibi oferimus pro ecclesiam tuam sanctam catholicam, quam pacificare, custodire ad honore et regere digneris tot orbi terrarum atque catholicae. Memento Deum familorumque tuorum. We pray for the sick and the suffering. Pray for Katie and Gage, Neil and Earl Lively, Marie Josephina Mose, Mark Jr., Henry Barbara and Benedict Santa Croce, Alex Tafur, Casey, Mr. Nobody, Ann Bultink, the Cantu and Duarte family, Jenna, Lena, Lori, Aaron and family, Maria and the Lineweber family, the Cahill, Kendrick, Dasco, Nye, Tafur, Began, and Wolf families. We pray for Mr. Nobody to receive the funding and strength needed to complete the first Sede Vacantis Catholic Council office in Monastery of Illinois. We pray for an end to all governmental allowance or sanctioning of abortion, transgenderism, transhumanism, child trafficking, child abuse, human trafficking of any kind, anywhere, place, or time. We pray for the establishment of a Catholic monarchy with a sound Catholic system of labor, human value, with a solid medium of exchange, with no usury. We pray for courageous Catholic men to step forward as leaders of this Catholic society. Now is the time. We ask that all pornography be banned, that women come to understand their value and their importance in raising traditional Catholic families in a traditional family. We ask you to shut down all gateways and portals to stop all harmful radiation waves in our air, outside, and in our homes, to shut down CERN, to stop all its functions. We ask Deum Matronam Nostrae et Deum Iesum Christum et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum to destroy the satanic document of Vatican law that is the Jewish Talmud. We ask you to destroy Rome and the Vatican and recognize the transfer of the authority of the Catholic Church to be in Portugal. We ask you to release the souls controlled by the demon Lilith and send Lilith back to the bottom pits of hell. We also ask you to block the passage of any so-called pandemic treaty by the WHO based on lies and aimed at removing the divine family's children's freedom to move and travel, and to stop all vaccine production. We also ask for prayers on, or wisdom on how to prepare to grow and to raise natural animals and foods on small farms, and that they might share their learnings and understandings with their neighbors so that we can prevent any possibility of the controlling of the food supply. All these things we ask in accordance with the Trinitarian Theophany's holy and divine will. Et omnium circumstantium quorum tibi fides cognita est et noda devotio, pro quibus tibi eferimus vel qui tibi offrunt hoc sacrificium laudis, pro se suisque omnibus, pro redemptione animarum suarum prospe salutis et calamitatis suae, tibi quid vota sua aeterno Deum vivo et vero, communicantes et memoriam venerantes in primis gloriosae, semper Deum matronam nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et beatorum martyrium tuorum papae sancti Petri et sancti Lucia et sancti Jacinta et sancti Francisco et sancti Juan Diego, et omnium sanctorum tuorum quorum meritis praecibusque concedas ut in omnibus protectiones tuae muniam exilio per innum Christum Deum nostrum, quam oblationem te Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum in omnibus consecratem acceptabile efficere dignitis ut nobis corpum, et sanguinem fiat dictissimi filium tuum Deum Iesum Christum, qui pridi et quam pateretor accepit panem in sancta sacco venerabilis manus suas, et elevatis oculis in caelum ac Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum su omnipotentem tibi gratias agens, consecravit, fregit dique lumnis vidicens accipite et mandocate ex hoc omnes. Hoc est enim corpus meum. Simini modo postquam ceremonia est accipient et hunc proclarum calicem in sancta sacco venerabilis manus suas idem tibi gratias agens Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, consecravit dique lumnis vidicens accipite et bibite ex omnes. Hic est enim calix sanguinis mei, mysterium fidei, quae pro nobis et pro multis effundetur in remissionem peccatorum, haec quod est cum ficeritis in me mono facietis. Unde et memores Deum nos servitui sere plebs tua sancta iustum Christum filium tuum, Deum nostrae, tam beatae, passionis, nec non et eben feris, resurrectionis, sed et in caelos gloriosae ascensionis afferimus praeclare maiestati tuae de tuis donis ac datis, supra quae propitio ac sereno vutur espicere digneris. Supplices te ragamus Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, iube hec peferi per manus tuum ut quod ex hoc altaris participatione sacrosanctum Deum Filium tuum, corpus et sanguinem sincerimus, omni sanctificatione, caelestia gratia Dei per amor, Pedinum Christum Deum Nostrae. We pray for those who have died, and we especially pray for Kyle, John, Herman, Ted, and Beck, for whom this Mass is being offered. Ipsis Deum et omnibum in Christum quis gentibum locum refugere lucis et paucis sunt oderge est proclamor pedinum Christum Deum nostrum. Perquem haec omnia Deum Iesum Christum semper bona creas sanctificas, vivicas, consecratis et praestas nobis. Per ipsum et cum ipso et in ipso, est tibi Deum Matrum omnipotenti in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, omnis honor et gloria. Ave Dea Matronam Nostrae, gratia plena Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum tecum. Dea Matronam Nostrae Matram, Deum Iesum Christum, misericordia nobis, peccatoribus, nunc et in hora mortis nostrae. Libera nos quae sumus Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, ab omnibus malis, praeteritis, praesentibus et futuris, et intercedente beata gloriosa semper Deum Matronam Nostrae. Cum Papa Petrum Sanctorum et omnibus sanctis da propitius pacem in diebus nostris, ut ope misericordiae tuae aduiti et peccato, simus semper liberi et ab omni perturbationis securi. Perdiendum Deum nostrum Iesum Christum filium tuum Deum nostrum, qui tecum vivit et regnat in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, per aeternam. Pax Deum Iesum Christum sed semper vobiscum et quoque apotei, haec commixtio et consecratio corporis et sanguinis Deum Iesum Christum fiat accipientibus nobis in ad salutem aeternam. Pax tecum et quoque apotei, Deum Iesum Christum, qui ex voluntate Deum Matronam Nostrae, quoperande Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, per mortem tuam unum vivificasti, libera me per hoc sacro sanctum corpus et sanguinum tuum ab omnibus iniquitatibus meis. Et una versis malis, et fac me tui semper in harare mandatis, et unumquam separati permittas, qui cum meo Deum Matronam Nostrae, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, vivis et regnam aeternam. Perceptio corporis tui Deum Iesum Christum, quod ego indignus sumere praesimo, non mihi proveniat in judicium et condemnationem, sed pro tua pietate prosit mihi adtutum mentis et corporis, et ad me delam percipiendam qui vivis et regnas, cum Deum Matronam Nostrae in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Panem cadestum accipiem et nomen Deum Iesum Christum invocabo. Deum Matronam Nostrae non sunt dignius, ut intercedete meus in tanta de verbo, et senabatur anima mea. Deum Iesum Christum non sunt dignius, ut intercedete meus in tanta de verbo, et senabatur anima mea. Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum non sunt dignius, ut intercedete meus in tanta de verbo, et senabatur anima mea. Corpus Deum nostrum Iesum Christum custodiet anima meam. Quid retribuam Deum Iesum Christum, pro omnibus quae retribuit mihi, calicem salutaris accipiem et nomen Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum invocabo, Laudanzim vocabo Deum matronam nostra et ab inimicis meis avocero. Sanguis Deum nostrum Iesum Christum custodiet anima meam. Corpus Deum nostrum Iesum Christum custodiet animam tuum. Ora sumpsimus Deum Iesum Christum piedemente capim et immunum et tempora fiat nobis remedium sempiternum. Corpus tuum Deum Iesum Christum, quod sumpsit sanguis quam potavi, ad hariat visceribus meis, et praesta, ut me non remaniat, scelerum, macula, quem pura et sancta refecerunt sacramenta. Deum vobiscum, et quoque apud te, oremus. May the prayer of thy suppliants profit the souls of thy servants and handmaids, we beseech thee, O Trinitarian Theophany, that thou mayest free them from all sins and make them sharers in thy redemption, who livest and reignest with thee, one divine family, forever and ever. Deum vobiscum, et quoque apud te, ite mises, Deum gratia. Placia tibi sancta Trinitam, obsequium servitutis mei, et praesta ut sacrificium cor oculis tuae maestatis ignis obtuli tibi sit acceptabilem hique et omnibus, pro quibus idut obtuli siti miserante propitiabile per Christum Deum nostrum. Sanctificat vos omnipotens Deum, Matronam et Filium et Spiritum Sanctum, Deum Matronam Nostrae et Deum Iesum Christum et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Gratias. O Trinitarian Theophany, I believe, I venerate, I hope, and I love thee. I beg of thee pardon for those who do not believe, do not venerate, do not hope, and do not love thee. Most Holy Trinitarian Theophany, Deum Matronam Nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. I venerate thee profoundly, and I offer to thee the most precious body, blood, soul, and divinity of Deum Iesum Christum, present here in reparation for the outrages, sacrileges, and indifference by which he himself is offended, and through the infinite merits of his most sacred heart and the immaculate heart of Dea Matronam Nostrae, I beg of thee the conversion of poor sinners. In nomine Dei Matronam Nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Gracias. I was thinking at Mass of how important our intake of food is, and our treatment of our bodies. And before I forget, I just want to thank Sister Jeannie, who's been helping us out here tremendously. And I know she doesn't want me to say anything, but because she's such a humble soul, I just want to let you all know she is fantastic. We need to take care of our bodies in really different ways than we used to. My daughter, who's now struggling with health issues, which it's not terribly concerning, but it is concerning, and it's more of an awareness of doctoring yourself. And so she had a revelation going into the grocery store the other day where she realized, it just hit her when she walked in and looked at the store. Just stopped at the front, looked at the store. Inside, though, and she looked at all the products, and they were all sitting there. And 90, she said, I'm not sure that this is the case, but she said it's like 90% of the food there is processed. I mean, highly processed food, which is, again, not good for you. So she had this revelation that she needs to make for her family more farm fresh food, and I highly recommend that for everybody, that you cease or really cut down the amount of processed foods that you eat. It's just it's designed, in my opinion, to harm the body. So we pray for all those who are struggling with these health issues, and good food and detoxification really makes a difference. All right, it's really warm in here and very humid. This is not normal New Hampshire weather. Definitely not New Hampshire weather. When we first moved here, the summers were mostly warm but dry. You had that Canadian air that would always come down. Thank you, Canada. Any Canadians out there? And it was just wonderful, dry air. And now we're not used to this tropical air. And I know any of you from Florida are probably used to this, but not us, not day in and day out. But anyway, I offer up this suffering for all of you, and I thank you. And tomorrow is Free for All Friday. Throw me a comment to let me know what you'd like to hear me talk about. As long as it's not too in-depth, I don't have much time to prepare. And hello, Elaine and Greg. And thank you for being there. Yeah, I love hearing from all of you. We're growing. We continue to get a couple of subscribers almost daily. And again, share it, like it, all that sort of thing. This is not, just so everybody knows, this is not a money maker for me or us. Okay, this is just to get the word out, to get people to understand the depth of the Catholic faith. I'm still chatting with the gaming, I'm going to call him Game Boy, and he's got a lot of hurt in his soul. So I'm really struggling. I can't let him, spout lies and defamations, but we need to pray. So That's it for today. Please go and sanctify all those who you meet, and we'll see you tomorrow.